John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert with almost 30 years of experience in the credit industry. I have spent time at FICO, which is the company obviously behind the FICO credit scoring system, and at Equifax, which is one of the 3 generally recognized credit reporting agencies. And so today I'm going to bring some heat because we're going to do a little myth busting. This one always leads to arguments down in the comments section because people hate being corrected. We're going to talk about a category of metrics that influence the points in your FICO credit score. So we're specifically talking about FICO, not FICO and VantageScore, even though VantageScore is a commonly used credit scoring system as well. But today we're specifically talking about FICO. So if you had to put in a pie chart all the different categories of information that influence your FICO credit score, you could actually do so very easily. 35% payment history, 10% inquiries, 10% account diversity, 15% are the age of the credit report related metrics, and then the 30% metric or the 30% category, this is what addresses or considers the debt related metrics on your credit report. So the other 70%, we are not going to discuss today. We're only going to talk about the category or the slice of the pie that accounts for 30% of the points in your FICO score. That particular category has to do with debt and how well you manage debt. So here's the myth that I'm going to try my best to dispel today. There is no shortage of blogs. There's no shortage of interview quotes that I see written by financial related writers that try to suggest that the debt category is only one thing, meaning that it only considers one thing from your credit report, which is the credit utilization ratio. So credit utilization is another way of saying revolving utilization. That is in fact a metric in FICO's credit scoring systems and VantageScore's credit scoring systems. Let me explain how you calculate the revolving utilization ratio or the credit utilization ratio. You take the balances on your credit cards, you add them together, that gives you your aggregate balance. Then you take the credit limits on all of your open credit cards, you add them together, that gives you your aggregate credit limits, and then you divide the balances by the limits, and that yields a percentage. So some people refer to this as the revolving utilization ratio, the revolving utilization rate, the utilization ratio, the credit utilization ratio. It's all the same thing. It's basically the relationship between the balances on your credit cards and the credit limits on your credit cards expressed as a percentage. So an easy way to do it, let's say you have $10,000 of balances, $20,000 of limits, that would equal 0.5 or 50% utilization. So that's how it's calculated in the aggregate. That is in fact a component of the debt category. But here's the myth buster. It is not the only component of the debt category. So if you ever see a pie chart or read in an article that your credit utilization ratio is worth 30% of the points in your score, that is factually inaccurate, all right? So I'm going to identify all of the other metrics that have to do with debt that fall in the same 30% category. Here they are. Number 1, the dollar amount owed on all of your accounts. Okay, and this is obviously information coming from your credit reports, not necessarily the balance on your credit card as of right now. It's the balance on credit cards and loans and such that are appearing on your credit report. Dollar amounts owed on different types of accounts. And so these are actually 2 completely separate metrics. So this is going to be an aggregate measurement of all of the balances that you owe on your accounts. This is going to be balances on different types of accounts, okay? So that's also predictive and it's meaningful in your score. Next, people love to forget about this one and it drives me crazy. The number of accounts with a balance that is appearing on your credit reports. People really kind of ignore that this is a thing, right? And so you hear a lot of strategies about, well, spread your balances out across a bunch of credit cards and that'll make your utilization ratios look better. All you're doing is you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, because now you have more accounts on the credit report with a balance when before you had fewer accounts. And so this is obviously an issue. And so You know where else this can become problematic? During the holiday season, kind of the Christmas-ish season, when people go out and they open up new credit cards at retail stores to save some money on their purchases, or they use existing retail store credit cards to buy something because they feel like they need to use the Gap card at the Gap, your Macy's card at Macy's. You can use an American Express card or a Visa at every single one of those stores and not pollute your credit report with a bunch of small nuisance balances. So again, this is a real thing, and people forget that it's included in the debt category. Next is the revolving utilization ratio. That's this. It absolutely is part of it, but it is not the whole thing. And then finally, with respect to installments, so in other words, things like mortgages and auto loans and student loans, the balance on your credit report relative to the loan amounts, and then what the math yields as a ratio. So that too is included in this particular category. And so of the 5 different metrics that are influential in this category, only one of them is that credit utilization ratio. In fact, more metrics have nothing to do with the credit utilization ratio on your credit cards than do. So the next time you read an article or you hear somebody talk about how, well, your utilization ratio, that's 30% of the points in your score, politely explain to them that while that's a very important metric, while it absolutely is considered by credit scoring systems, it is only one of a variety of metrics that are considered in the debt category. So if you want to argue with me, I'm happy to have a little bit of friendly banter with you. Leave the comments in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. By the way, this is all public information. You can find this on FICO's website, so I'm not sitting here making this stuff up. It's very easy to find this and verify this. So it was great talking to you, and we'll talk again soon. Have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.